Okay, let's stream some shit. So, funny story about this. I kinda, sort of, streamed this entire thing yesterday without hitting the start stream button. So, I'm not going in as quite as reliant on my 6-year-old self's memory this time. But, yeah. One night, Mickey and Donald were practicing for their big magic act. One of the magic tricks surprised Donald, and he fell backwards, tripping over some scenery. Behind the scenery was a mysterious magic box with a drawn curtain. "Oh boy, if it works, we can use this in our magic act," said Donald. "I'm not going to try to do a Mickey or Donald voice. You don't want to hear me attempting those." I don't know if that's such a good idea," replied Mickey, noticing a strange glow behind the curtain. But he was too late. Donald had already stepped inside. Poof! The curtain fluttered, and Donald disappeared. Mickey stepped inside to inspect the box, and poof! He disappeared too. Booming laughter echoed as Mickey and Donald fell through the darkness, and an evil voice said, "You are good magicians in your world, but here in my world of magic you'll have to learn many more tricks to find your way home. If you can find and defeat me, I will show you a way out of this magic box." So, yeah, that's the excuse for the plot of this game. That was the thing back in Games Room this time. They just had plot, or had gameplay, and were like, okay, let's try to write a plot around this. You might be thinking the game is running kind of slow. It isn't. The gameplay is just slow. This might have been one of the easiest games I ever played for the Genesis, not including that Barney game where if you go AFK, it will literally play the game for you. I hear Polygon gave it a 10 out of 10. Genesis games absolutely loved their kind of seesaw platforms. Though this game, it has a definite excuse for it. The levels changed based on if you were doing one player or two player. You could, like, drop down ropes or lift up your friend, and the levels were designed around that. The seesaw platforms were designed around them springing one up this side and the other one dropping down a rope. But I remember that there was a level that had an entire collapse sequence based around one of the players, the second player through the hole, getting stuck, and the other one having to pull them out, and then the entire kind of structure collapsing. And that's really impressive for the time. I mean, that's some state-based shit going on right there. All in all, like, one of the memories I had of this game was the fact that it looked beautiful. Like, I mean, we're not talking Donkey Kong Country levels of everything being gorgeous down to the soundtrack. But this is some fucking great sprite work. Even if the mosquitoes have flight hats and the California raisins have helmets and spears. What are they supposed to be? I don't know what they're supposed to be. They turn into flowers when I kill them. But they're not plants like that thing there that was clearly a plant. I didn't actually stumble across this thing during my previous play. I must have taken another path. I forgot this thing had screen nukes. I don't think young me realized that this was supposed to be a reference to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And frankly, old me is glad these spiders aren't realistic. So during my first run of this, I compared these things to the block snakes of Super Mario World, in the same way I remember a comparison that happened on Mystery Science Theater. You know, this chase scene has been compared to Ben-Hur. Really? Yeah. Ben-Hur was great. This sucks. And that's how I feel about the spider block snake. I mean, look at Mickey's face. Look at Mickey's face as he's walking here. That is me playing this. And this is just slow for slow's sake. This isn't challenging platforming. There is one enemy on this entire block snake. And here's the first boss. It's also a goofy looking spider. It's like some weird dog spider thing. I just realized it only has 6 legs, which doesn't even make it a spider. It's just a regular bug. Regular old insect. Except for the fact that it has hands on each of its legs. Why does the spider why does it have hands? And in classic Disney style, they're 4-fingered hands. Also, this isn't an attack. I can't hurt it right now. This is just wasting time. Inside the magic chest, there is an ancient manuscript describing great magic. I feel it should be there was an ancient manuscript. If you say the magic word, Alakazam, and then press any of the buttons, a flying carpet will appear. What the fuck is a button? To control the carpet, hold down the jump button. What the fuck is a jump button? To fly up. If jump is not pressed, the carpet will descend. Use the direction pad. What the fuck is a direction pad? To control your movement. Like, from an in-universe perspective, that book said a lot of nonsense other than say Alakazam. This looks like a good time to try out that new magic. I always like it whenever games try to conceal their tutorials, like in-universe. But at the same time, when they kind of just have to make do with the fact that they can't conceal everything. I seem to remember some Earthbound type shit going on there. Where it's like, think of something Start-like. So, yeah. I think these cards are like, yeah, you get enough of these cards, you get a 1-up. It's definitely not 100. These cards are not coins or rings. Also, I can't attack here. This is the most boring Gradius. I think this was supposed to be scary here. As a kid, I was never really traumatized by it. Even now, I think it's supposed to be some sort of Night on Bald Mountain thing going on. And this was supposed to be terrifying. This was supposed to be, oh no, I'm going to get crushed to death. But it takes the control away from you. So, even as a kid, I was like, Okay, this is some sort of scripted thing I have no control over. If anything, this is the more frightening thing, even though you just hold forward and clear it with enough time. I just have some sort of innate fear of being crushed to death. I think I blame Quackshot for that. And then I land on this rock and everything is fine because I'm in the clouds and the clouds have faces. And you know what a cloud level means. Everything is a death pit. What it... Ah, yes, a candy over a disappearing platform. This game was a lot less health conscious than Chex Quest. Here the health items are cake and candy rather than salads and delicious breakfasts with Chex cereal. Forgive me if I don't ask for that MIDI font. I want to say I can reach the end of the level just by jumping right there, but I don't want to risk it. I probably could have. There wasn't as much of a hole there as I thought there was. And here we have some Pete's Dragon looking... I don't even know. Does it attack? Do you have an attack? You do attack. Okay. This might be the easiest boss I've faced outside of Bob the Killer Goldfish. Who is, as the name would imply, a goldfish. Inside the chest, there is an ancient manuscript describing great magic. If you say the magic word Alakazam and then press any of the buttons, a magic bubble will appear. Somehow the magic will differentiate between if you want this or the carpet. If jump is not pressed, the bubble will sink. In other words, it behaves basically exactly like the carpet. Here goes nothing. There's just one major difference between this and the carpet. And that is, this bubble has an incredibly annoying noise. And you will be hearing it this entire level. I apologize. But yeah, I think everything is supposed to be some vague homage to, a bunch of early Disney things. Like, I think this is kind of supposed to be a Little Mermaid homage. This game has 2 Wonderland homages. Well, that's not true. I don't know what one of the levels coming up is going to be all about. Maybe someone could enlighten me. I'm going the wrong way. This isn't forward. This is just squeaky bubble hell. I blame SpongeBob for this sound effect. Even though he clearly has nothing to do with anything and wasn't even conceived when this game was made. So this is a clam. For some reason, the clam is a boo. A boo that only stops once it reaches a column of bubbles and doesn't attempt to pursue you afterwards. I think it's supposed to be a puzzle? But take all of the challenging puzzle elements and replace it with thing you literally can't screw up. Was this just an alternate? This was just an alternate path forward. Go away, Tigerfish. No one loves you. I'm sure there are plenty of people who love Tigerfish. The worst part is you can't even go fast. You have two modes, slow and slightly faster than slow that has a horrible squeaking noise. Anyway, here are goldfish. I love the little bonk sound effect. Also, at least this game got the, crouching movement right, and it isn't a lightning fast slide across everywhere. So yeah, the starfish do not in fact love you. The starfish want you dead. And for starfish being the worst kind of people, I again blame SpongeBob. Okay. That jump isn't harder than it looks. I'm just, not an expert World of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck player. So yeah, this is an invincibility. It proceeds to give you this invincibility in a very slow section without enemies. And by the time you reach the enemies, it runs out. Why was there an invincibility there? Doesn't even have any cool invincibility music. I mean, I thought platformers were supposed to have cool invincibility music. Or at least attempts at cool invincibility music. Anyway, here's a haunted ship. Well, not haunted, but crumbling and decaying. And the starfish still hate you. Anyway, there's a secret 1-up and full health. And by secret, I mean kind of obvious. They try the exact same trick that Quackshot had. Anyway, here are sawfish. They become shrimp too. Okay, that was a speed boost. I have no idea if that's lethal or not. I would assume it's lethal, but there's nothing that indicates it should be lethal. Anyway, here's the hardest boss in the game. It's a shark. The best strategy I could come up with was simply trading hits on it. I kind of died to it a couple of times on the stream that didn't get recorded. I forgot to read that. Press a button, go to a different box. Anyway, we were in Geppetto's Goldfish Bowl the entire time. There are these pen birds and staplers that are spring pads, and those roller dudes, and pencil protractor things. I don't know why it is I go into these Disney games expecting something resembling logic, but I do, and I never receive it. Yeah, that was worth it for that one health pickup. Anyway, here's a bowl full of sugar cubes. The sugar cubes got their lessons from those blocks in the desert in Mario 3. I think my new trick will come in handy now. Book. So here's the level I don't know what it's a reference to. Everything's just candy. You know how you turn everything else into something cute and harmless? No, you just make the jelly airplane crash. And these things don't even damage you. They just twist you up. They're an excuse for the sprite designers to have a nice looking new sprite for no practical purpose. I mean, I guess it does slow you down so you get... Oh, you're invincible! You're invincible when you're on the thing, so you don't even get hurt by that guy. But look at this pixel art. This is pretty beautiful looking, isn't it? I say as we go into probably something that looks rather bland. So I spent most of this trying to dodge the falling stars because I figured those were also a threat. I, at that point, had forgotten that this game was easy. Yeah, so with my 2 points of reference, I could safely say that cork just drops you on that enemy. You just take that damage. But Genesis games also really love their quicksand effects. Except this time it's gelatin. Anyway, here's a witch. There's a lot of vague magic elements going on in this game, which makes sense. But that actually still doesn't really explain the entire water bowl thing. I don't get that. Inside the magic chest, there is an ancient manuscript describing great magic. If you say Alakazam and press any one of the buttons, you'll be able to command cards. The weird thing is, I'm sure the Alakazam and wow soundbite and ouch soundbite took up a ton of the game's memory. Like these soundbites, that classic Sega took up a ton of the cartridge. There were sacrifices that had to be made so Mickey could ouch with a sound that sounded like words. I think that might have to do with the fact that I'm probably going to beat this game in the next 15 minutes. Oh boy, if I didn't just screw myself over on platforming challenges with that, I don't know what will. Also, there is momentum in that platforming. You can be flung by those cards. Also, even as a kid, I definitely recognized that this was Wonderland. So I'm going to spare you the trouble. This one sends me back a ways to that part where I had to climb the cards vertically. This one sends me back even further. This one sends me to a kind of a little bonus level. This one and this one open the door. Where does this one take me? This one does nothing. Oh, apparently the 3 is the only one that actually opens the door. So I'm going to go to the bonus level. It's not much of a bonus level, but I didn't want to deny you guys seeing all of the content this game has to provide. Anyway, here's a weird scrolling room. Like, I'm literally in Wonderland, so I can't even do that thing where I question the insane video game logic of anything, because I'm in Wonderland. The kind of place where dragonflies breathe fire. Yeah, okay. Those holes do get bigger if you step on them. Anyway, here's flying plates. Anyway, here's rocket candles. This actually makes the platforming very difficult. Because remember how I said there was momentum on those cards? There doesn't seem to be momentum here. Anyway, here's the most beautiful level in the game, I think. Mostly because I love constellations. I just realized that the witch is dressed up like Yen Sid. Or maybe Mickey when Mickey stole the hat? I don't fucking know. I always loved when games have silhouette type things. I think that's why I love the sunset levels in Donkey Kong Country Returns and Tropical Freeze. Which, if I ever get around to playing, knowing me, I'm probably going to exclaim something like, "Why is the tie colored?" And that's clearly for an aesthetic reason, because it looks really cool. But I'm still going to question it anyways, because I question everything, even when it's nonsensical, especially when it's nonsensical. When it is designed to be nonsense, I will question it, even when it's in a game where such things are not meant to be questioned. How did I teleport there? I didn't need to say Alakazam to do it. Everything takes multiple hits to transform into cards now. I got killed trying to get this before. There's irony in dying trying to get an extra life. Oh, that's not a crawl space. Anyway, the final boss is Pete. You've done well so far, but your adventure ends here. You'll never defeat me. I defeated him. I basically didn't move and defeated him. You cannot die during the epilogue. Amazing! No one has ever defeated me. You are a great magician. As I promised, I'll show you my greatest trick, how to escape from my world of illusion. And then they were back. Look, you can see recognizable Disney characters there. You've got Goofy, Minnie, Daisy, Pluto, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, those two cows I can never remember the name of, and Pete. The guy is like Horace and the girl is Clarabelle? I don't fucking know. Thank you for playing! If I came to this magic show, I would actually feel ripped off. If nothing else for the fact that the entertainment was 15 seconds long. However, 23 years later, here I am playing a video game that was 40 minutes long for an audience. Artist 7LY Big King. I said before I shouldn't get up on names of this, but his name was 7LY Big King. So, it was a short stream of a short game that I have memories of playing with my parents. I also remember it being harder, but I also remember beating it as a kid. And since I was able to beat it as a kid, maybe it wasn't as, it was actually just, always easy. And I remember it being harder because I was shit back then. Not to say I'm amazing now, but I certainly understand things probably like the cape is what damage and the sparkles are only what stuns. But yeah, this was World of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. I'm out of MP, and thank you all for watching. The end.